Receiving a formal legal demand in the mail creates an immediate sense of exposure. It is the realization that a massive system has focused its attention on you, feeling like an unavoidable crisis. We often instinctively equate any legal action with the threat of prison. We picture police, handcuffs, and the immediate loss of physical freedom. The American justice system actually operates on two distinct tracks: civil law and criminal law. Correctly identifying which track you are on is the first step in determining if you are facing a financial demand or a legitimate threat to your liberty. Civil lawsuits are initiated by private individuals or companies seeking a court-ordered remedy for an injury. The goal is compensation, putting the plaintiff back in the position they were in before the harm occurred. Because physical liberty is not at stake, the Sixth Amendment right to a free attorney does not apply. Civil litigants must either pay for their own legal counsel or represent themselves, making these suits an effective financial burden regardless of the case's merit. To win in civil court, a plaintiff must prove their case by a preponderance of the evidence. This means they only need to show that their claim is more likely than not, a threshold of 51%. Criminal cases require the state to meet the highest standard in the law, beyond a reasonable doubt. This requires near absolute certainty, roughly 99%, because the state is attempting to deprive a citizen of their freedom. The trials of O.J. Simpson demonstrate how these two standards create different realities for the same set of facts. In his criminal trial, Simpson was found not guilty because the prosecution could not reach that 99% threshold. However, in the subsequent civil trial, the burden of proof shifted to the 51% standard. Simpson was forced to testify, and the jury found him liable for $33.5 million in damages. These two outcomes illustrate how the standard of proof acts as the decisive pivot point for justice. A defendant can be acquitted under the strict requirements of criminal law while still being held responsible under the lower thresholds of a civil lawsuit. The government also utilizes these civil tools through administrative law to enforce national compliance. Federal agencies like the Federal Trade Commission bring civil enforcement actions to protect the public interest. They can penalize companies for deceptive marketing or enforce the Take It Down Act, which requires platforms to remove non-consensual intimate images at the request of victims. Under the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, these federal statutes and regulations preempt any conflicting state laws. When the federal government acts within its enumerated powers, its directives take priority over state constitutions and legislatures. This authority allows the government to impose significant financial costs. Failing to comply with a law like TIDA carries civil penalties of $53,088 per violation, a figure that can rapidly escalate into the millions for a platform handling thousands of user requests. The same legal framework used to regulate citizens provides a mechanism for citizens to sue the government itself. During the Reconstruction era, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1871 to stop state-level abuses against formerly enslaved people. A central part of that law remains today as Title 42, Section 1983. Section 1983 allows individuals to sue state and local officials who violate their federal constitutional rights while acting under color of law. It transforms the victim into the plaintiff, allowing them to seek monetary damages or injunctions in federal court. This power is checked by qualified immunity, which protects officials from liability unless the citizen can prove the official violated a clearly established law. If the legal right was not clearly defined at the time, the official is immune from the lawsuit. Understanding the burden of proof turns a legal threat from a source of panic into a problem of categorization. By isolating the specific rules governing a case, individuals can identify their protections and, when necessary, hold the state to the same civil standards it enforces on the public. Receiving a formal legal demand in the mail creates an immediate sense of exposure. It is the realization